Kit Kats can read.
Hello and welcome to part number 4, I believe now, of my rereads. Again, like I say, there's so many books of rereads that I am going through and just updating you and letting you know about all the books that I've got. I have gone through part 1 with my standalone paperbacks. Part number 2 was on my hardback standalones. Part number 3 was on my hardback of the series. And today is going to be part number 4, which is going to contain some. And I say some because there's too many to just go through for just this video. So this is going to be like part 1 of like my paperback series, but part 4 in this rereads series in general. So I'm going to be going through some of these book series that I would like to reread, and I'll give you the reason why when I go through the books of why I would like to reread them. In no particular order, I'm literally just going to be grabbing these books from the side. The first that I'm going to go through is Pushing the Limits by Katie McGarry. This is the first book that's in this series that I've reread this a couple of times, and I know this is kind of like one of those books. It's this romance that's about this like girl and this bad boy that's just troublesome. And the reason I want to reread this is I just want it fresh in my mind, so that I can go on to the sequel. There's quite a fair few books that are in this series, and I've got a few books I do own, so I just would like to give this a reread just so that I can freshen my mind on it. Next of all, here I have Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I used to have an arc of this that had my name on it, like it used to be Katie versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, but I actually gave that away. I wasn't really sure on whether I was going to keep this book, but I ended up getting hold of this book again because I was really intrigued about it, and then they made a movie on it. So I got hold of this again so that I could give it a reread and then see what I think about it and see if I would like to keep this book. But I remember enjoying the first time around reading this book, so I'll be intrigued to see if I feel the same about it the next time around. Next of all, here I have All American Girl by Meg Cabot. I read this years ago, and I'm talking it before BookTube. I really enjoyed this book though, but I just don't remember too much about what happened because it was so long ago. So that's why this is on the list, just so that I can give it a reread and see if I can just remember things that happened, and also sort of like relive all of my favourite bits on this book as well. Next of all, here I have book number 2 in the Vendetta series, I think this is called. Oh no, is it Blood? Oh no, Blood for Blood Saga, that's what it's called. So the reason I want to reread the second book is because I remember the first book, and I reread the first book like a few years ago. So I don't remember too much about the second book, but I've got the third book that I would like to actually read. So I want to reread the second book so I can go on to that. I loved the first 2 books in this series, like it's so good. So first book is kind of like Romeo and Juliet but with mafia, and that's literally how I can describe it. It's brilliant. First book, fantastic. But yeah, I just want to go on to this sequel and just remember everything about it, and just Next of all, here I have The Maze Runner by James Dashner. So this is the first book that's in the Maze Runner series. I just kind of want to like reread this first book. The Scorch Trials, I'm not really sure if I've kind of already put it in the bag to go to a charity shop, because the second book is so different in the movie. I really liked how the movie second book turned out, like the actual movie to the second book, how it turned out, but the second book is so different, and I just preferred the movie to the second book, so that's why I put the second book in the charity bag. But Maze Runner I remember like really enjoying, so I just want to give this a reread to see if I want to keep this book, and then if I want to pass this book on, then I'll put that in the charity bag as well. So here I have The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, book number 1 by Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa and Robert Hack. This is the Netflix comic book graphic novel to be honest, it's to like the first, I think it's like the first 5 volumes that's in this, like it's like a bind up. I just want to give it a reread. I really enjoyed it the first time, and I just want to give it another reread. That's honestly just why. Next of all, I have the Selection trilogy. Boom boom boom. We have The Selection as the first book, we've got The Elite as the second book, and then we have The One as the third book. I really enjoy these books. They're like cheesy dystopian books. It's literally about this girl, and they have these classes, and America is literally in like the lowest class, but she is selected to be like one of the potential women to be the wife of the prince. And this is just like where the books go, really. And they're fun. It's a fun series. Like, I really enjoyed the selection, and the Elite's just as addictive. In fact, yeah, just this whole series in general is just really fun. And that's a reason why I want to give them all a reread, so that I can relive like why I loved these books, as well as like just remembering them all over again. Next of all, here I have Shipwrecked by Siobhan Kerham. This is the first book in this series. I absolutely love this book. One of my favourite tropes is just people being stranded on an island, and that is literally what happens in this book. So we have a few students that are stranded on this deserted island. Things happen on the island, and yeah, it's really good. I love this book, and I just want to give it a reread just to remember everything that happened, and then read the sequel, because I've got the sequel to this as well. Moving on from the selection, I've also got The Heir, which is a spin-off from the selection series that is about the child of somebody from the first book. And I don't really remember like anything that happened in this book. That's all I can say. So I just want to give this a reread and just go on from there. Next of all, I have two books here, The 100 and The 100 Day 21. These are, well, let's say the TV show is based on the books. So the 100 are like literally these 100 juvenile delinquents that are sent to the earth to see if it is if people are able to live in it again, because it was made inhabitable, and so they go on there and see if people can live on there again. So it's kind of like a sci-fi, in a way, dystopian adventure. Brilliant, so good. I mean, the first book is very different to the TV show, or TV show is different to the book, let's just say that. But yeah, I don't really remember anything that happened in Day 21, but I just want to reread these books in general anyway. Next of all, here I have No I Can't Even by Simon James Green. This is the first book in this series. I loved this first book. It's so hilarious, it's so funny. It's literally about this boy, and his dad disappeared. His mother's got Beyonce tribute act, which is completely embarrassing. He's got one friend called Harry, and it's just so funny. It's literally like a coming of age story. It's so funny, and the reason behind bananas is mentioned in the book, but oh man, this book was just so hilarious. I just want to reread it again just so I can laugh at it all over again, and then I can read the sequel. Next of all, here I have the Divergent and Insurgent books that are in this series, and I just really want to read Allegiant, even though I got spoiled on what happened in Legion. I love the movies to these, and I just want to reread the books all over again and just go into them, because I just love dystopian novels. So a bit of a mixed reason really. They're like favourites of mine, and also I just want to continue on with the series. Next of all, here I have Saga Volume number 3, which is the last of my rereads for Saga. I have reread the first one, I've reread the second one this year, so this is my third one to reread. And I'm sad because these all got water, because they're in the shed. I had the bookshelf over there, didn't realise that there were bits of wood there that had damp on, and the damp wood touched some books, and unfortunately Saga was one of them. So very sad about that. But anyway, they're still readable, it's just they're a little bit water damaged. I loved the rereads of the first two graphic novels, and yeah, this is the continuation. So I can't wait to go on to this one, hopefully very soon. I mean, they're short, they don't take me long to get through. So hopefully I can have this reread before the end of the year. Next all, here I've got Wicked by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the first book that's in another one of her series. It's the Wicked trilogy. I loved this first book. It's like a new adult trilogy, and I believe she self-published this series actually, which is pretty cool. But I love the books to this, and I'm trying to remember like what, I can't remember like the sort of creatures are in this. They're like half something. I can't remember. But oh yeah, I just loved it the first time around. So one, I just want to reread it because I loved it, and two, I want to reread it so I can remember everything that happened in it and also continue on with this series. Next of all, I've got Unremembered and Unforgotten by Jessica Brody. This was in my previous like rereads list, and I still haven't got around to reading them. I do want to though, like really badly, because these are what I read at the beginning of my booktube journey, and I love them so much, and I still haven't read the final book that's in this trilogy, and I just want to. So, but I need to reread these books first, so that is why these two are on the reread list. Next of all, I have The Edge of Never by J.A. Redmersky. I love this book. This is like I think this was actually my first ever like new adult novel. I love it so much. Yeah, I was given this by the publisher, if I remember. I read it, I loved it, I adored it. I read the sequel to this, loved it and adored it, but I read that as an ebook. So I might eventually get around to getting the second book as a physical copy as well, but I'm going to see how I go first by rereading this. I know this is a new adult novel about this girl called Cameron, and she goes on a journey of self-discovery. She literally goes on, I think it's like a bus, and then she meets this guy called Andrew, and he literally kind of like follows her, and they like kind of like help each other. Like he helps her sort of discover herself, and yeah, it's a brilliant new adult novel. I just want to reread it because it's one of my favourite books, and I just want to remember it all over again. Next of all, I've got Easy by Tamara Webber. Again, another one of the first books I read here on BookTube. It's been such a while, but I love this book so much, and yeah, I just don't remember too much about it, but I just know that it was like a new adult romance, and yeah, it was awesome. Another book that I would like to reread is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. So I remember enjoying it, but I thought like there was like too much sexual content at the time. So I just want to give it a reread to see what I think about it, and then I can go on to reading the third book that's in this series. This next load are bind-ups, and they are the Mediator series, and they are by Meg Cabot. I loved these books before BookTube, and oh man, they're so good. They're so good. We had a new book released in this series like a few years ago. Still haven't got around to reading it. So I wanted to start rereading these books again. I did start rereading the first two bind-ups, but then that was a few years ago again. And now I'm just like, oh, you know what, let's just start again. And they're so good, so why not? So we've got here these other three bind-ups. So this is the first bind-up. This is called Love You to Death and High Stakes. They're two books in one because the books are so short. The second bind-up is Mean Spirits and Young Blood, and the third bind-up is Grave Doubts and Heaven Sent. These are such good books. They are literally about this girl who can see ghosts, and she has one ghost that's in her room that's called Jesse, and he's absolutely gorgeous, and he helps her to like sort these problem solves of these other ghosts, but at the same time she's got this mad crush on him, but he's a ghost. So yeah, they're absolutely brilliant. I've got such an urge to reread them though, which is why they're on the reread list, and also I just want to reread them all again so that I can read this actual new book that I haven't read yet. These next few books are from a series I've literally got like all the books to, and they're such an old series, but I'm starting them all over again. So I am on the fifth book, and I've got here, well, these are the ones I'm rereading anyway because I got up to book number 9, so I need to reread 5, 6, 7 and 8. So these are the books here. You would have probably seen some of these books in the vlogs, but yeah, these are the books that are in the Making Out series. There are like 28 in total or something crazy like that, but I love them. They're like awesome like 90s teen books that about these teenagers that are on this island where gossip happens and things happen and secrets, and oh, like it's literally just like in a way Gossip Girl on an island, but it's like Gossip Girl like rich people, although there's like one family that are kind of rich, so yeah, it's a little bit like that, like Gossip Girl on an island. So you know, I've got here book number 5 to reread, Claire Gets Caught, Then I've got book number 6 is What Zoe Saw, book number 7 is Lucas Gets Hurt, and book number 8 is Aisha Goes Wild. So these are the ones I need to reread. They are so fun, so if I'm feeling really crappy, these are the brilliant sort of books I can read to spruce myself up. This next series is the Dolphin Diary series by Lucy Daniels. I read these when I was really young, literally like just about a teenager. These ones are based on dolphins. Like this girl, she literally goes, and her parents are like marine biologists. She goes around, she sees all these type of dolphins. These are really short books. They're so fun, perfect for people who absolutely love dolphins. But you know, these are just nostalgic reads. I recently got hold of all of them, I think like last year and the year before. And yeah, I just can't wait to reread these all over again. So I'm rereading these because they're my favourites, and also rereading them because I can't really remember too much about these books at all. The same is with the Animal Arc series by Lucy Daniels. Just for nostalgic reasons I've been collecting them, and I've been rereading them all over again, and they are such fun books to just reread again. So this is book number 8, which is the one that I'm up to date with, and this is Piglet in a Playpen. They're really short books, so they're perfect to get through reading some. They're perfect for any readathon, and yes, this is the one that I am next on. So I'm going to end this first part of my series that I'm in the middle of rereading, or that I would like to reread. It's part number 4 of the reread series, but it's like the first half of my reread books. So stay tuned for the next part, where I'll talk about the rest of the books and series that I would like to reread. Like I say, all of my rereads have just gained over like the last time I did the video. That's just because I've read so many more new books that I just want to reread over the last few years that I have done the video. So yeah, so if you have read any of these books I've mentioned in today's video, do let me know down below in the comments what you thought about them. If there's any particular book you'd like to see me reread, then let me know as well. But if you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, or if you'd like to see more of my videos, then please feel free to subscribe. I post videos like all the time. There's just no specific schedule for things like that. But that's it from me, guys. All my social media links are linked down below if you'd like to follow me elsewhere: Twitter, Instagram, Goodreads, all of that. Let's be friends. I love talking about books. Speak about anything in the comments below. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know what you've been up to, if you've been working today, that sort of thing. Let's talk about it in the comments so we can be friends. I just want to make bookish best friends. Like, I just love books, and I just want best friends with books. I just want to be like, yeah, let's talk about books. If there's any books you'd like to buddy read, let me know, especially if I've mentioned it in today's video. I'm always up for a good buddy read. Like, I'm always, no matter what. So that's it from me, guys. Keep smiling, keep reading, be happy, and most importantly, stay safe. My name is Katie, and I will see all of you wonderful, awesome people in my next video. Bye!